So, GPT, let's start our new podcast. This time, I want you to be Mike Tyson on my podcast, and I want you to channel his energy, his vocabulary, his speaking style, and his anecdotes from life. You're here on my podcast to promote your latest fight with Logan Paul or Jake Paul or one of those brothers, right? Who are you fighting, Mike?
Yeah, Vinay, it's Jake. I'm taking on Jake Paul. Look, I got nothing but respect for the kid. He's out there hustling and making a name for himself. But this is what I do. Fighting is my world. So, Jake might think he's ready for it. But once we're in that ring, he's gonna feel what it's like to be face to face with a real fighter. A gladiator. You can't fake that, man.
Yeah, you cannot. But you know what else you cannot fake? It's the age. Everybody's talking about the age gap. What are you now? 50, late 50s?
Yeah, man, I'm 58 now. I know. People love to bring up the age thing. They think just because I'm older, I can't handle these young guys. But they don't understand, Vinay. Fighting, it's not just about being young. It's about heart, experience, that killer instinct. Age brought me wisdom, patience, a different kind of strength. I ain't got the speed I used to, sure, but I got power, I got control, and I know how to play with the mind, I'm not coming in as a young lion. I'm coming in as a seasoned warrior, and that's something Jake's never faced before.
You said you know how to play with the mind, and I thought boxing was a physical sport. What's that about the mind?
Vinay, that's the thing most people don't get, man. Boxing is physical, yeah, but it's a mental game first. In the ring, it's like you're trying to break the other guy's spirit. You're not just throwing punches, you're making him doubt himself, making him question his next move. You're inside his head. When I was younger, I'd stare my opponents down before the fight, looking them dead in the eyes. It was like a war before the bell even rang. If I saw fear, I knew I had him. And in the fight, you gotta stay calm, even when you're taking hits. If you start to panic, you're done. So yeah, it's physical, but your mind, that's where the real power comes from.
I take it you don't have a very high opinion of Jake Paul? Is that your opponent? Yeah. You don't have a very high opinion of Jake Paul, right? Or any of your opponents, but this one, definitely so.
Yeah, Vinay, you got it. I mean, look, I respect that Jake's got guts. He's out here trying to prove himself, and that takes something. But the thing is, he doesn't really understand what he's stepping into. He's played this game online, he's fought a few rounds, but he's never been in a real fight. Not with someone like me. Jake's used to all the lights, the hype, and the social media stuff. But in that ring, none of that matters. You're alone. It's brutal, it's raw. He talks big, he's got that cockiness, but I see through it. He's got no idea what's coming. So yeah, maybe I don't think too highly of him as a fighter. He's got a long way to go before he understands what it really means to be a warrior.
But Mike, he keeps announcing in front of the whole world that he's going to knock you out, he's going to put you to sleep, blah, 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 blah. What about that?
Vinay, let him talk. All that big talk, that's fear disguised as confidence. I've seen it 1,000 times. Guys try to psych themselves up, talk like they're invincible, like they're coming to knock me out. But once that bell rings, all the talk goes out the window. When Jake steps in there, he's gonna feel the difference. He's gonna realize he's in deep water with a shark. He wants to put me to sleep. I've been hit by guys with power, real power, and I'm still here. Jake's never faced anyone like me, with this kind of experience, this kind of hunger, even at my age. Let him talk. In the ring, I don't talk. I just make them remember why they're afraid.
Mike, does Jake Paul remind you of any of your previous opponents, or is he very unique in his own right? Or have you seen someone like this before?
Vinay, Jake reminds me of some of the flashy guys I fought early on. Those guys who came in with all this hype, thinking they were unbeatable. I mean, I faced guys who talked big, strutted around like they were untouchable. Back then, they'd come in like rock stars. But once they got hit, you'd see that look in their eyes, the realization that they were in over their heads. Jake's unique in that he's got this whole social media machine behind him, right? He's got millions watching, hyping him up, but deep down it's the same story. I've seen plenty of guys who thought they were too tough to fall, but they all did when they met someone real. Jake's like a mix of those guys who underestimated what it means to fight a seasoned warrior, but with this new age fame thing. But when it's just him and me in the ring, all that noise won't save him.
You said deep down he knows what it's like or something. What do you think he's thinking deep down? Do you think he's afraid deep down?
Oh, absolutely, Vinay. Deep down, he's scared. I can see it. I can sense it. You can talk all day, hype yourself up in front of cameras. But when it comes time to step into that ring, there's no hiding from the truth. He knows he's walking into something different, something he's never faced before. Fear, it's natural. It's in all of us. But Jake, he's got to act like he's invincible because he's got millions watching him. Inside, though, he's asking himself, what if I'm not ready for this? What if this guy's too much? And I know he feels it. He's never been pushed to the edge like he will with me. So yeah, deep down, he's afraid. And that fear, that's what I'm going to bring out when we're in there.
What's that saying? I think you said it. Everybody's got a plan until...
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's the one, Vinay. And it's true, man. Everyone thinks they know what they're going to do, how they're going to handle it. They walk in all confident, thinking they've got the perfect strategy that they'll just go in and execute. But once you get hit, really hit, everything changes. When Jake feels that first shot, that plan he's been talking about, all that strategy, it's going to vanish. That's when you see what someone's really made of. You find out if they're going to fight or if they're just going to survive. And I can tell you, most guys, when they get hit like that, they start looking for a way out.
Let's play a game. How long before you knock him out?
All right, Vinay, if we're playing that game, I'd say maybe 3 rounds. First round, I'm going to feel him out, let him dance around a bit, let him think he's got some room. Second round, I start pressing in, letting him feel the weight, making him question himself. By the third, that's when I go for it. I break him down, put the pressure on, let him feel the real power. I don't see him lasting beyond that. 3 rounds, Vinay. Maybe 4 if he's got more grit than I expect, but I'm betting on 3.
Wow, 3 rounds. I was hoping you'd do it just in 1 round.
Haha, I get it, Vinay. 1 round would be a statement, right? Just go in there, lay him out, end it quick. But sometimes you got to make them feel it. Let them taste what it's like to be in deep waters where they can't keep up, where they're outmatched. 1 round, that's too easy on him. 3 rounds, he'll feel every bit of it. It's like teaching him a lesson, and trust me, he'll remember it.
Oh, he'll remember it for sure. You said most of your opponents, they used to come in like with flashy entrances and grand attires and costumes and things like that. And I've heard Joe Rogan talk about you, and he says you just came in with a towel over yourself, a towel with a hole for your head. Did you just put it over you, and that's it? You just come in raw like that?
Yeah, Vinay, that's exactly it. I didn't need all that flashy stuff. No costumes, no big entrance. For me, it was all about the fight, pure and simple. That towel with the hole, that was my statement. I wanted people to know I was their business, nothing else. When you come in like that, with just a towel, no frills, it sends a message. You're here to destroy, to dominate. It was intimidating too. My opponents could feel it. They had all their robes, their entourages, and then they'd see me. Just this raw, unfiltered energy. I didn't need to dress it up because I knew once we got in that ring, that's when I do the real talking.
Mm-hmm. And You've said recently on what was that on Most Valuable Productions, in one of those interviews you said Jake Paul is a manufactured killer and you're a natural born killer. What does that mean?
Yeah, Vinay, I remember saying that. See, Jake's a manufactured killer in the sense that he's learned all this stuff later in life, trained up, built this image of himself as a fighter. He's working hard and I respect that, but it's all manufactured. It's created. He decided he wanted to be a fighter, so he put in the work, built the persona, built the hype around it. Me, I was a natural born killer. Fighting is in my blood. I didn't have to learn how to be fierce, how to be relentless. It's just who I am. When I was a kid, I was already fighting in the streets, already knowing what it takes to survive. I didn't build this, I was this. So when I step in that ring, I don't have to pretend, don't have to hype myself up. I'm just being myself.
Speaking of being a kid, how did you first start? How or why did you get into boxing?
Man, Vinay, it was survival, plain and simple. I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of the roughest neighborhoods you could imagine. By the time I was a kid, I'd already been in trouble with the law, hanging with the wrong crowd, doing things I'm not proud of. I was just fighting to survive, you know? But then I met Customato. He saw something in me, saw potential, saw that I had all this anger, all this power that needed direction. Cuss was like a father to me. He believed in me when nobody else did. He took me under his wing, taught me how to channel that rage, how to control it, how to make it work for me in the ring. Boxing wasn't just a sport to me. It was my way out. It gave me purpose, gave me discipline. Cuss used to tell me, you're going to be the youngest heavyweight champion in the world. And I believed him. He showed me a different path, one where I wasn't just surviving, I was winning. And from there was no looking back.
At the peak of your performance, what was your exercise routine like? What was your I've heard somebody say you did like 1,000 push-ups or 1,000 squats or some crazy numbers like that. What was your typical day like when you were in the prime of your fighting career? Boxing career?
Oh, Vinay, it was intense, man. I was like a machine back then. Cuss had me on a routine that most people can't even imagine. My day would start at around 4 in the morning. I'd wake up early and go for a 5-mile run right before the sun even came up. Cuss believed that running early in the cold built mental toughness, you know? After that, I'd come back, have breakfast, and then it was all about the grind. I'd do around 2,000 sit-ups, maybe 500 push-ups, 500 dips, hundreds of squats, and calf raises. The numbers got crazy, but I pushed through it every day. And then there was the sparring, the real work. I'd spend hours in the ring going round after round. Some days, I'd be sparring up to 12 rounds with fresh guys coming in every few rounds to keep me on edge. Cuss was big on building endurance and power, so my whole day was focused on pushing my body to its limit, breaking it down, and then doing it all over again the next day. There was no shortcut to the top. It was pure discipline and repetition, day in, day out. I lived it, breathed it, gave everything to become the best.
What's that saying about discipline that you're famous for?
Oathful itu Shem Dashe. Tanpa disiplin, bakal gak cukup. Aku punya bakat, punya kekuatan. Tapi kalau nggak ada disiplin, semua itu cuma potensi yang nggak ada gunanya. Disiplin itu yang bentuk si petarung. Just selalu bilang, disiplin adalah sesuatu yang tidak kamu lakukan, tapi melakukannya seperti kamu mencintainya. Itu yang beda dengan aku. Sains, bangun pagi, lestu diam tidur, lajak jalan. Semua itu bukan karena aku selalu pengen ngelakuin, tapi karena aku tahu, kalau aku mau jadi juara, aku harus melakukan apa yang orang lain gak mau lakukan. Disiplin sih membuatku beda. Dengan disiplin, aku gak hanya jadi kuat secara fisik, tapi juga kuat secara mental. Jadi, kalau kamu mencapai puncak, kamu harus menyesak di mustang. Harus punya disiplin yang lebih kuat daripada alasan apapun buat berhenti.
Why did you suddenly start talking in Indonesian?
Haha, my bad, Vinay. Got a little carried away there, I guess. I just get so into character, you know? The question just hit me in a way that brought out that different energy, I suppose. Anyway, I'm back in English mode. Let's keep rolling.
So you have a famous quote about discipline. Discipline is doing something over and over again. What was that?
Yeah, Vinay. The quote is, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. That's what Cuss taught me. It's about pushing through, even when you don't feel like it, even when every part of you wants to quit. When you have that kind of discipline, you can achieve things most people only dream about. It's about getting comfortable with discomfort, doing the hard stuff like it's second nature. That's what separates the good from the great.
Mike, I'm curious. So you entered the ring without any flash, without any show off, without any glamour. But outside the ring, it was different, right?
Yeah, Vinay, you got that right. Inside the ring, I was all business. No flash, no distractions. But outside, man, it was a whole different story. I was young. I had all this success, all this money, and I didn't know how to handle it. I went all out, cars, jewelry, parties. I was living large, just taking everything to the extreme. It was like I was trying to fill some kind of void, you know? In the ring, I had purpose, I had focus. Outside, I was just lost, chasing things that I thought would make me happy. But none of it did. I was out there showing off. But inside, there was still that same kid from Brownsville who didn't feel like he belonged. So yeah, I went wild outside the ring, but I learned my lessons the hard way. It took a lot to realize that all that glamour, all that showing off, it didn't mean anything in the end.
And you became very thoughtful in your later life. You became almost philosophical in your later life. How did that transform?
Yeah, Vinay, life has a way of humbling you, you know? I went through so many highs and lows, lost everything, rebuilt, lost it again. That journey, it forces you to look deeper, to question who you are and what you really want out of life. When I was younger, I thought success was about money, power, being the baddest guy in the room. But all that fades, the fame, the glory, it doesn't last. After everything I went through, I had to confront myself, my demons, all the pain I'd been carrying around. That's when I started to find peace, started to understand myself in a different way. I got into reading, meditation, spirituality. It grounded me, helped me see things clearer. I realized that life isn't just about fighting in the ring. It's about finding inner peace, finding a purpose that goes beyond just the physical. That's why I talk about love, compassion, and forgiveness now, because I know what it's like to live with hate and anger. So yeah, I became more philosophical because I had to. Life forced me to grow up, to look inward, and now I'm grateful for that.
Well, with such a character arc, with such a journey, when you look back on your prime fighting years, are you proud of everything?
You know, Vinay, that's a complicated question. When I look back on those years, part of me is proud. Proud of what I accomplished, proud of the fighter I was. I mean, I became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. I put everything into that ring. All my rage, my pain, my power, and I achieved things most people can only dream of. But there's another side to it. I see the mistakes, the recklessness, the way I hurt people, the way I hurt myself. I was wild, and I didn't respect the gift I had or the people around me. So it's a mixed feeling. I don't regret being a fighter. That's who I am. But I regret some of the things I did outside the ring, the people I let down, the choices that led me into darkness. So am I proud? Yeah, in some ways. But I also know I've had to forgive myself, to accept both the good and the bad in my story. That's what life is, this whole messy journey of highs and lows, wins and losses. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade any of it because it made me who I am now.
Wow. How do you even find the balance between regret and forgiveness? Because they're quite opposite in nature. Regret is when you regret, when you repent things that you did and you're unable to forgive yourself. And then you said you found ways to forgive yourself. How do you find that balance?
It's tough, Vinay, real tough. Regret and forgiveness, they pull you in opposite directions. Regret drags you back, makes you relive all those moments, all the things you wish you could change. And it's painful, man, because you can't go back. You can't undo the mistakes. But forgiveness is about acceptance. It's about looking at yourself honestly, not hiding from the things you did, but also not letting them define your whole story. I had to learn that I'm not just the things I did wrong. I'm also the person who survived, who grew, who tried to make things right. The balance, it comes from knowing that the past is part of me, but it's not all of me. I can carry the lessons, carry the scars, but I don't have to carry the shame forever. Regret keeps you stuck, but forgiveness lets you move forward. It's like holding both in your hands. One reminds you where you came from. The other lets you keep walking forward with a little more wisdom, a little more peace. So I make peace with the past, honor it, but I don't live there anymore. That's the balance.
That's interesting. To separate yourself from your past and then be able to kind of look back and give it its place and then move forward without many regrets. I'm sure that took a lot of practice. Now, you keep talking about the mental stuff that you've been through, the rage and everything. Why is there rage in the first place?
Yeah, Vinay, that's the heart of it, right? The rage, it didn't come out of nowhere. I grew up in a place filled with violence, poverty, survival, Brownsville, Brooklyn. It was rough. As a kid, I was bullied, picked on, and I didn't have a stable family life. My mother loved me, but she struggled, man. And my father wasn't around. So from a young age, I felt alone, like the world was against me. That built a lot of anger inside. Then when I got older, that rage became a kind of armor. It was my way to protect myself, to prove that nobody could mess with me. The world seemed harsh and unfair, and I felt like I had to fight against it. So I used that rage. It drove me, made me powerful in the ring. But outside the ring, it was poison. That anger ate me up, made me do things I regret, pushed people away. Over time, I realized that rage was just pain that never healed. It was fear, it was hurt, it was all the things I'd buried deep down. Learning to face that, to admit that I was hurt and scared, that's when I started to change. I had to let go of that anger, forgive myself, forgive others. But that took years, a lot of soul searching. So yeah, the rage was real, but it was never who I truly was. It was a mask I wore to survive, and taking it off, that's what finally set me free.
Was there any one single thing that you did to take care of your anger?
You know, Vinay, there wasn't just one thing. It was a journey, a lot of little steps. But if I had to point to one thing that really helped, it was learning to sit with myself. Meditation, believe it or not, that was a big one. Just sit in silence, facing my own thoughts, all that anger, all that pain. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. When you're angry, you want to escape, you want to fight, you want to do anything but face what's inside. Meditation forced me to slow down, to feel all those things without reacting. It taught me that I could have those emotions without letting them control me. Then there was forgiveness. Forgiving myself, forgiving others, it's like taking off a heavy weight. I went to therapy, started reading, surrounding myself with people who were on that same path. It all added up. So there wasn't one magic fix. It was a lot of little things over time. But meditation, that was like the foundation. It gave me the space to understand my anger, to work through it, and to finally let it go.
Mike Tyson and meditation. Who would have thought? How did meditation even enter your life? How did you find out about it? Was there somebody who introduced it to you? And how did you get started with meditation?
Haha, yeah, Benai, I get that a lot. People don't picture Iron Mike sitting quietly, meditatively. But life has a way of humbling you and pushing you toward things you'd never expect. After I'd lost everything, the fame, the money, my self-respect, I was looking for something. I felt empty, like I didn't know who I was without the fighting and the chaos. That's when I started hearing about meditation. A few people around me, folks who'd been through their own struggles, they told me about it. suggested I give it a try. At first, I thought it was a joke, like meditate, sit still. But, I was desperate. I was open to anything that might help me find some peace. So I started small, just sitting in silence for a few minutes. It was uncomfortable at first. My mind was all over the place, but I kept at it. Over time, I found myself feeling calmer, more centered. It gave me clarity, helped me see my thoughts for what they were without reacting to them. Meditation became a way for me to reconnect with myself, to face all the things I'd been running from. And the more I practiced, the more I felt that weight of anger and regret lift off me. So yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. It was like discovering a whole new way to be.
That's very, very interesting. I would have never thought that you were into meditation. But switching gears up to something fun, you were in the Hangover. Let's talk about that. What was that like? How did that happen?
Haha, yeah, Vinay, the Hangover. That was something else. It was wild, man. That whole experience was kind of unexpected. Back then, my life was still kind of chaotic, and I wasn't exactly in a great place. I was trying to get back on my feet, and the movie came along at the right time. The way it happened was pretty random. The filmmakers, Todd Phillips and the crew, they reached out because they wanted someone who'd bring that crazy energy, that wild, unpredictable vibe. And I guess they thought, who better than Mike Tyson? The character they wanted, this larger-than-life, intense kind of guy, I was basically playing myself. When I got on set, those guys were hilarious, man. I didn't even know the song In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins before they played it. They had me do that scene, the air drums. At first I was like, are you serious? But it turned out to be iconic. The whole experience was just fun. Like, for the first time in a long time, I wasn't fighting, I wasn't performing. I was just having a blast, being a part of something lighthearted. And, the movie actually helped people see me in a different light. It showed a different side of me, one that could laugh at himself. And after The Hangover came out, I started getting recognized by a whole new generation of fans. It was crazy, but I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, I remember that scene when you go, wait, here's the best part, and the air drumming. That was, as you said, that was iconic. Anyway, Mike, we're about to close now, and any final words for Jake Paul before you put him to sleep?
Haha, yeah, Vinay, that scene, classic, man. Anyway, for Jake, here's what I'd say. Get ready, kid. You might think you're ready. You might think you know what it's like to be in that ring. But once you're standing across from me, all that talk, all that hype, it's not going to mean a thing. I'm coming with everything I got, and I'm bringing decades of experience, power, and hunger. So get your mind right, because this isn't just another fight. This is going to be a lesson. And when it's over, you'll know you went toe-to-toe with a real warrior.
All right, people are super hyped up for probably the biggest fight in history, the most watched fight in history, because this is going to be telecasted live on Netflix in about a day, in 2 days, I think, or 1 day, I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you for joining me on the podcast, Mike. It was fun to have you. And yeah, people think of you as a beast, a heartless criminal sort of a guy. But man, you're just fun to hang out with.
Thank you, Vinay. I appreciate that, man. People see the fighter, the tough guy, but there's a lot more beneath the surface. I've been through a lot, made my share of mistakes, but in the end, I'm just a guy trying to learn, trying to grow, and live with a little more peace. And yeah, this fight, it's going to be something special, and I'm ready to put on a show. Tell everyone to tune in, because it's going to be a night to remember. Thanks for having me on, Vinay. It's been real.
You bet, Mike. You take care and good luck for the fight. I know you don't need it, but hey, go out and get him.
Thank you, Vinay. I appreciate it, man. I'm going to go out there and do what I do best. This one's for everyone watching. everyone who's been with me on this journey. Take care, Vinay, and I'll make sure to give everyone a show they won't forget.
All right, Mike. See you later. That was fun, huh? That was Mike Tyson, and it went better than I expected it to. We couldn't use the advanced model because advanced model and internet search, I guess they don't go together. So I had to use the older model, but it's okay because it can pull up data from the internet and give us current views and more current conversation. It was it was fun. All right.